Testing audio. Test 1 2 3. Test.
And he's just riding fast.
Dragon. Audio test. Test 1 2 3. Test.
Needs to go. Yeah.
It's not picking up.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord for the video and
Audio test. Yep. Okay.
That one.
not terrible.
Audio test. Test 1 2 3. Testing. Did you turn this one down?
Just a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Testing. Test 1 2 3.
Unless they're looking.
That's coming through good.
A double hit or something?
Behind the plate. I think we gave it.
And behind the plate.
I would like to call to order the Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 meeting of the Danville City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call to establish quorum, please.
Mayor Ricky Williams Jr.,
Present.
Vice Mayor Eve Ludwig,
Present.
Alderman Ed Butler,
Here.
Carolyn DeToy,
Present.
James Pichard,
Present.
Tom Hightower,
Here.
Barry Johnson,
Present.
Mike O'Kane,
Here.
Mike Poor,
Present.
Rick Streebing,
Here.
Sherry Pickering,
Here.
Tricia Teague,
Present.
Jaleel Jones,
Here.
Doug Arns,
Here.
John Cooper,
Here.
14 present.
14 present. We do have a quorum. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Pastor James Yonkers of Emmanuel Lutheran Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Cooper. Please rise.
Good evening, everyone. We open up always in my place of worship at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. We always open up in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Please pray with me briefly. Dearest Lord, we ask for your hand of peace to be upon Danville and our community, O Lord. We pray for your healing hand to be upon all those who suffer and who are hurt, O Lord. And Lord, for this meeting, we pray a blessing upon all of our leaders in our community, O Lord. We ask you to give them wisdom and knowledge, compassion, so that this meeting may be fruitful and they may lead us in your will and in your way. And Lord, we ask you would be with all the police and firemen and ambulance drivers and the first responders, O Lord. Bless them as they serve our community and bless them as they serve you. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. We'd love to hear about any updates you might have at the church or...
Oh, we're doing very well at Emmanuel. We're getting ready for our VBS is this coming June, early in June. I think it's 15th, that week in June. We're going to be doing tropical island adventures. It's going to be wonderful. Come learn about God and have a lot of fun with the kids. It'll be wonderful. We're also getting ready for our preschool next year. Our plan is to have 75 2 through 4-year-olds pre-K. We've been running that program for several years now. It's going wonderfully, going great. We have a good relationship with the community, and we hope to continue that on next year as we bring in our Reggio Emilia curriculum, a new curriculum for us that we're eager to bring in. So thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you. At this time, you have the meetings, the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please. I'm sorry, voice. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. You also have an agenda for you this evening. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Now it's time for my report. I do have two proclamations for you. Is there a motion to concur with the first proclamation for Children's Mental Health Awareness Week?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, at this time I would like to share that. And I want to thank Mrs. Deanne Ryan for helping put this together for us. I appreciate it. Whereas good mental health is a key component in a child's healthy development, and Children's Mental Health Awareness Week shines a light on this important matter. And whereas the first week in May is Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and it's time to call for action beyond awareness to be proactive in responding to the needs of our children. And whereas it is important that children and adolescents, along with their families and communities, learn the signs of behavioral health challenges and where to obtain assistance and treatment in their home communities. And whereas obtaining a full and accurate diagnosis of a child requires gathering information from diverse sources, including family, school, and others who are involved with the child. And whereas the involvement and partnership of family members in the assessment and treatment of the children and youth is essential to positive outcomes. And whereas the Vermilion County Children's Behavioral Health Network works with partners to focus on supporting families who may have youth with behavioral health issues. And whereas children and youth with the most intense needs are frequently underserved and experience inequities in access to support and needed treatment options. And whereas addressing the complex mental health needs of children, youth, and families today is fundamental to the future of our nation and to the Danville, Illinois. Now, therefore, I, Ricky Williams, Jr., Mayor of the City of Danville, do hereby proclaim the week of May 3rd through 9th, 2026 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Week and urge citizens and organizations to work toward meeting the mental health needs of every child in the City of Danville and their families. You also have before you a proclamation declaring a day of fasting and prayer. Is there a motion to concur with that?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. I'd like to share that with you at this time. Whereas the National Day of Prayer is an annual day of observance designated by the United States Congress when people are asked to turn to God in prayer and meditation, and whereas the President is required by law, 36 U.S.C. Section 119, to sign a proclamation each year encouraging all Americans to pray on this day, and whereas 37 of our presidents have designated days of national prayer and or fasting, and whereas the courts have upheld the right of all levels of government to follow suit, and whereas our citizens now more than ever need to love one another, to treat one another with kindness, respect, and understanding, to look for solutions and resolutions towards the betterment of each of us as individuals, communities, a city, a nation, and a world. And whereas prayer brings people together, it builds bridges between opposing persons and even political parties, and it reminds us that we should be instruments of peace. And whereas fasting and prayer has helped pull people through struggles and fears of every kind, and also serves as a wonderful way to express love, gratitude, and concern, whether in private or amongst family and friends. Now, I therefore, Ricky Williams, Jr., Mayor of the City of Danville, to hereby proclaim Thursday, May 7th, 2026, as a day of fasting and prayer in the City of Danville. And I urge all citizens to remember our city, our state, our nation, and our world in fasting from sunup to sundown, praying for God's wisdom, guidance, blessing, and protection for this great city, for our people, and for our leaders. And if you are not a person of prayer or a person of faith, to take action to address these challenges of our times. Thank you. Just like to say briefly, I know in the past some people have mocked a day of prayer. They say, look, we have so much violence going on and so many people are hurt. And that's absolutely true. We've had a lot of lives unnecessarily impacted by violence. However, I shudder to think if we did not take time to pray and ask God to petition where we would be. I think about I don't know, I don't have an updated number, including last year yet, but over 700 guns that our police officers have gotten off the streets in the last several years. I think of how many more people would be harmed or dead if that were to happen. I think about the 60% reduction in crime, and yes, there has been a 60% reduction in crime if you look at it from 2018 when I started until 2025. And it's interesting that it's funny to some people, but I have to tell you, I'm very proud of our police in this community and very proud of the community because they have worked together to help make our lives safer for our young people and for all of us. So I appreciate that. I do not have any board, committee, or personnel appointments at this time. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Seeing none, items of information, I would like to remind everyone that the pastors in the community, a number of the pastors in the community have invited us for a time of prayer and celebration at Hope Unlimited Church downtown on Thursday at 6 o'clock. So I hope to see you there. I know a number of you are involved in that. I also want to remind everybody at nearly the same time at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday at Laura Lee Fellowship House, Project Success has invited the community to come together and discuss these issues of violence that are challenging our community as well. So hopefully, if you're like me, I hope to be able to participate in both. I do believe that another group is having a get-together next Thursday at 4 o'clock at the library as well, led by Pastor LaStan Hoskins and Mosaic City Church. So there will be several opportunities for people to come together and discuss solutions to the issues that are facing our community. Madam Clerk, at this time, do we have any petitions, communications, or audience comments?
Oh, we do. When I call your name, please come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. We have Scott Bean regarding city bicycling.
Mayor, Council, thank you for this time to speak with you. I'm here to bring to your attention that there's a problem we have in our city with people riding bicycles. We seem to be a target of drivers in this town. I can tell you for a fact, May 15th of last year, I was run over by a car that run a red light and run me over, and I was drug out from underneath of it by the ambulance crew. Thank God I lived through it. And that was at North Street and Gilbert Street, 9 o'clock in the morning, clear day. I had the crosswalk to right across it. I shouldn't have been hit, but I was. And I'm just one of a number of people who's been going through this instance. We're being hit all the time, and people in this town do not care about bicyclists. There used to be a Danville Metropolitan Bicycle Map this city put out a few years ago. You can't get one. I've got the last one that exists. I even talked to the engineer that worked on this project. He said that department doesn't even exist anymore. In here, there's a sign that's supposed to be posted in the city that says bicycles may use the full lane. That gives us legal right under the ILCS code to ride in the roadway. But if we do, we're targeted by cars, it seems. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems that way. If this map would be placed out so everybody could have them, maybe there'd be more awareness and less people would be getting hit by cars, and there'd be less risk. And also I know that there's government funding to put bicycle lanes and paint them lanes for more bicycle-friendly riding throughout the city. And I challenge you to get that to happen. I know it takes dollars and cents and time, but I think it would be a item worth looking into. I mean, it's multimodal transportation, and more people are riding bicycles for health consideration, and e-bikes are becoming an exploding item, not only for enjoyment, but for health and transportation back and forth to work. So I'm just asking you all to take a minute in your meetings and your conversations to take a look at this. I think it's well worth it. And if it saves one life or it increases somebody's quality of life, I think it's a good idea. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think it's a good proposition. I know there's other things in this town that are very critical, and I agree with that. But I think this definitely needs looked into. This come from what we had in this town called the DATS, Danville Area Transportation Study. And that department has since been closed down for the mapping. And I got to applaud, there's one person in this town that's helped me out many times. Rihanna Ollis should be given a medal and a raise. She is an angel. And she's helped me out on many things. She's always your go-to person. So I'm just asking for some help and some awareness. We need this. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Bean.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Chuck Strange regarding bike lane on Oakwood Avenue.
The only question I have, thank you very much, is when will the Rails to Trails start along Oakwood Avenue? I own a home there. When was that supposed to start? There's money for it, isn't there? No, not yet?
No, sir.
Oh, I thought that there was already funding for that. Well, that's a shame then. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
James Verhoeven regarding sidewalks.
You're the first guy said just about everything I was here to say. There is a major increase in e-bikes running all around this town, and I've seen the wrecks in the paper and such like that. You know that there's no sidewalk to go to Walmart. There's no way to get from here to South Danville, nor to Tilton. And found that out when I ran out of gas, and I have to walk across 74. You know, there's no walk lane. So it's the same thing. I mean, let's Danville do something. You know, I think we're probably one of the worst cities for bike lanes and places to ride. And I see this because I retired, and I see more and more bike traffic. And gas being $5 a gallon, everybody should be doing it, you know? So I see hundreds of more bikes this summer possibly, and no place to go. So that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Deontay Brooks regarding the mayor's pay. Deontay Brooks.
Can't hear y'all, sorry about that. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, and Alderman for allowing me to speak today. I came to talk about the pay increase for the mayor. Not in a way where I just want to talk about the numbers, basically. I did a little bit of research. So the average mayor makes 2 to 3 times the median income of the citizens in the city. So for us, the median income's around $45,000, but I did a little bit of deeper research. So with $45,000, 130 is right, but our per capita income, which includes homeless people, people without jobs, and underemployed citizens, our per capita income is $27,000, which is right around where we are right now for the pay for the mayor. Our median income is skewed negatively. People at the top are bringing the median income up. Well, while we have people working at car washes, coffee shops, all these other jobs that are low paying, but we do have some high income earners. So I believe that adjusting the mayor's income at this point, which would make it 4 to 4.7% higher than the per capita income for every individual in this city, would be unjustified. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, sir.
Kathy Walker.
Hello. Okay, I've got several things I just wanted to mention. Let's see. Okay, well, for one thing, I was hoping that everyone on the city council could go down Main Street, on East Main Street, between Bowman and Kansas at night, like after 8 o'clock, and just look on the north side of the street and notice how dark it is. If there's not a business there, it's very dark. And it started when Main Street was widened and they took out the streetlights. And I live on East Main, and it's dangerous. So please do that. Everyone, drive down Main Street tonight or tomorrow, and after 8 o'clock, and notice it on the north side of the street. Another thing that was kind of passionate to my husband, especially, and me, he's gotten me into recycling. And I've been trying to help him as much as I can, but glass and plastic and things like that, please reconsider putting either another receptacle somewhere for us to drop off, or ask all the citizens if they would be willing and take a survey or something of whether they would pay for it if they came to the house. And I know, like, my daughter lives in Bloomington, and that's a different county, I know, but they can put everything in one, it doesn't matter what it is, they can put it all in one container, and they have the pickup. And then they also have a recycling facility. And I know they're a lot larger than us, but that's something to consider, please. DAC and the VA staff and students and residents and the Eastgate, we need more choices of restaurants. And I know it's all has to do with crime, I know, but we've got to do something. It's not fair. Like, it's kind of embarrassing when the basketball playoffs are here and everything. And I know one time somebody asked me, I was downtown at an event, and some of the basketball players were asking me, where can we go out to eat? We told them, well, like Turtle Run, or, it's always out north. There should be something in the East End. It's kind of ridiculous. The VA has doctors, and they have a lot of wonderful staff, nurses, and the residents, we deserve better. And Eastgate, it's kind of ridiculous. People stay in the motels and they have no place to eat. Big Boy was there for a while and they left. Another concern are the potholes, like everyone knows, but also I've noticed lately, I've just retired last year, and for that whole last year going to Northridge, down Jackson, the manhole covers are raised. So they need to be leveled off. I don't know how you do that, but they need to be taken care of.
I'm sorry, ma'am, your time has expired.
Okay. City officials need to ID themselves also when they're talking over there because we can't see them all.
Thank you.
Deanne Ryan.
Hi, I'm Deanne Ryan. First of all, I want to thank the mayor and the council for passing the proclamation for children's mental health. This is Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and Thursday is Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. I've been an advocate for children's behavioral health going on 2 generations now, maybe 3 sometime. I've worked tirelessly with state and federal government to help design systems to reach more children and families with the services they need at the right place and the right time. I even instigated a class action lawsuit with the state that resulted in a system of care called Pathways. The challenge now is to promote awareness and connections to those services and to provide support to families at a loss as to how to help their children. I'm committed to that and hope that the local governments will help promote guidance for family and support. In light of the recent weekend of violence, we all need to do our part. May 7th is National Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, and according to the CDC, 1 in 5 children in United States, and I'm sure it's more in Danville because I've been around it, experience a mental health disorder in a given year, yet fewer than half of them receive any treatment. In Vermilion County, families face barriers to accessing mental health services, including provider shortages and transportation challenges, but resources are available. This event aims to, we're going to have an event on Thursday, another event, mine's from 2 to 4, or 4 to 6 at the Danville Public Library. And we're going to bring together new providers and services, which nobody really knows about, and how to access those and how to navigate the systems. Community partners will come together, and it's going to be a walkthrough event where parents and caregivers and anyone interested in helping their children can come and talk with providers and other families who have found help. The event will spotlight the urgent mental health needs of children and families in the region and elevate youth and caregiver voices. The Vermilion County Behavioral Health Network, which we recently started up to look at some of these issues, meets monthly to discuss concerns about families accessing services for their children. The state of Illinois and Vermilion County and the city have an abundance of services and supports to assist families to understand and address concerns with their children. The network aims to work with parents and agencies to make navigation and access easier. All are welcome to come to those meetings and share in the development of a more accessible and family-friendly path for parents having challenges with their children. I'm committed to raising my voice to making sure that parents know we do have services, and they're not utilized in our community. I can tell you that because I see the numbers from the state every month at a statewide meeting for the class action lawsuits. So, and nothing makes me more furious than to see the numbers of people who do not access these services. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Ryan? Mrs. Ryan, I apologize. Could you tell us, I don't think you said that you meet monthly, but you didn't state when or where. Do you have that?
Oh, I'm sorry. The event is 4 to 6 at the Danville Public Library and at the downstairs meeting room this Thursday.
And your monthly meetings, ma'am?
The monthly meetings are the second Tuesday of every month at 1 o'clock.
In the
at
library?
the health department.
Health department.
Yeah, and, you know, we have new services in town that nobody knows about. It's a shame, so,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Diana Schultz.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here again to address the issues with the semi-trucks blocking County Road 2100E just south of Southgate Drive. This is directly west of Sigma. Thanks to Chief Yates for sending officers to address this. However, that is duct tape and not a solution. I have continued to encounter trucks blocking southbound lanes of County Road 2100E. Last week, I had a semi-truck turn from the southbound lane towards the gates to enter. The gates were not open, therefore it blocked the south and the northbound lanes. I had to turn around and take a different path. This would prevent emergency vehicles from getting through. This would also prevent our farmers this time of year from moving from one field to another. As I've mentioned previously, in order to enter Sigma on the west, the trucks must travel west on Southgate Drive and then south on County Road 2100E. The only way for the trucks to enter this way is to block 2100E. There isn't a turn lane, there isn't a side lane or something for them to drive in. Previously, I proposed the solution to have Sigma to change the ingress from the west side to the east side. This would not put them on 2100 East any longer. The only reason the semi-trucks are there is to deliver to Sigma. Sigma needs to help resolve the problem. The Danville Police Department being called and ticketing drivers is a waste of resources, source of frustration for residents, and possible detrimental effects to semi-drivers if they're ticketed. I recognize this is only public comment and no discussion will take place. However, I have these questions. Has the City of Danville contacted Sigma to discuss changes to permanently resolve this issue? And has the City of Danville contacted Sigma to discuss the proposal to change the ingress to the east side of their facility to resolve this issue? I ask you had to have a discussion on this. Thank you for your time and for addressing this issue.
Thank you, ma'am.
Joseph Hutchins.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm here to discuss the idea of payroll, not just for the mayor, but maybe even the broader alder people here. It is a little bit upsetting to hear that there is a raise requested, in the sense that as this gentleman here pointed out, the average citizen's median income is pretty low. I've outlined kind of a rough draft framework for what I think the mayor's pay and general pay should be. I do believe the mayor pay should be the median income of the area, which is roughly $46,000, to keep him or her grounded to the average citizen. With that, there could be a $40,000 bonus paid based on public approval, and all that minus local unemployment rate. Other members of leadership should follow a similar structure, with bonuses being based on performance in respective areas. This will tie leadership compensation with the general health of Danville. Under this framework, if a raise is desired, then it can be earned by raising Danville higher. I do believe we have 3 mayoral candidates. So just as a note to that, for all 3 mayoral candidates, if any of you embrace this framework, that will solely earn my vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Philip Davis.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, yo.
Y'all know who I am. I don't really need to come and give y'all a speech about who I am or what I'm about. But for y'all that don't know, I'm Philip Davis. Ever since my daughter died, I've been real hands-on in the community as far as all these violence outreaches and programs and stuff of that nature. Ricky, you're quick to say it starts at home, and it do. I agree with you 100%, but it don't stop there. At some point in time, We got to realize as a community, as a whole, not one or two, not three or four, as a whole, that we got a serious issue here. I go to meetings. I come to every meeting. I also go to town hall meetings. I also go to my hardly see most of y'all there at all. Y'all can't hear me, I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me anyway? Because I can talk kind of loud. I really don't need the microphone. Truth of the matter is, I can count on my hand how many ornaments I've been seeing at these rallies, at these pep talks, about violence being taken in place in the city, who speaks out and who don't speak out. And truth of the matter is, it's a real issue. It's gonna go in every ward. It's not gonna get better if we don't come and try a way to address this. This ain't one of these, it's just gonna go away overnight. It's a war going on that y'all not even aware of that been going on for a good 15 years now. I was there at Save a Lot, me and my wife. So it's hard for me to be like, it's just a number. I seen a young man defend his life and die for his life. The very next day, I pull up in my driveway and there's crime scene tape. I live in the trenches. I live where the places y'all don't want to go, and I be the places that y'all don't want to be at. And I can guarantee you this, if your citizens don't think y'all care about them, they really ain't gonna care. And these kids is kids. The oldest is 22, and they range from 15 to 22. They ain't even old enough to make a decision yet. We need to do something. There's no time for excuses or pointing fingers. We're having a meeting Thursday night at the fellowship at 6:30, trying to figure out something, because I'd rather come up with solutions that don't work than just sitting here doing nothing at all. If y'all want Danville to be better, as y'all being the leaders of Danville, we expect for y'all to act like y'all want Danville to be better.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Darius Tyler.
How we doing, everyone? I initially came up to discuss my property tax because there's a glitch in the system somewhere. I paid it earlier this year, and I still received a property tax slip. Went down, spoke with the ladies in the office. It reflects that the payment was made, but for some reason, when the new property tax slip, they try and print it out, it is still reflecting that I need to pay my property tax completely all over. So there is something going on with the system. There's a glitch somewhere. And if you are a homeowner and you live in the county, check your property tax. But on another note, for those that do not know, I am the Youth Development Specialist for First Institute Training and Management. We are the WIOA youth provider for the entire Vermilion County, the only WIOA youth provider for Vermilion County. And how quite few individuals have expressed some facts. The only time we really see any of you is during voting season. That's it. And the community knows it. They know which ones are present and actively getting in the trenches and doing the work. But as a whole, as a collective, as a community, when you step into a leadership role, you take on the title of a servant. No matter what position, from mayor going all the way down, that means you took on the role to serve the individuals in your ward. I've seen, when I was on Keep Vermilion County Beautiful's board, I saw some aldermen come out and help with the cleanup. Others in their ward was not present. I live in Ward 2. I deal with my neighbors. They don't see their aldermen. They don't get the help when they need it. And it's a fact, because I've sent emails. Went to the city of Danville, site, sent emails, got no response. Whenever you call, no one's in the office. So again, we know that there's a huge disconnect, and the only time there is a time to try and bridge those connections is during voting season. So let's work on that as a collective. You know, don't just take on a role to serve your community and just sit back and feel like I'm contributing because I'm sitting here taking notes. Going into these meetings, I deal with meetings every day. I left a lot of boards because that's all we were doing was meeting. There was no action behind it. We need to see that from our leadership. We know the individuals that have their boots in the ground, but let's please come together and work as a community.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler.
Yolanda Davis.
Hello, everybody. I wasn't going to say anything, but I have to say something. It's on my heart to say something. I have had a very eventful weekend. I was at Save-A-Lot. I've been in the medical field since I was 17. I am considered a first responder. I'm supposed to respond when I see anybody down. Walking into Save-A-Lot, them two young men was behind us. Me and my husband play a lot. So we was playing with the carts and stuff like that. So they end up in front of us. So by the time we made the curve, and the young woman was at the doorway screaming she couldn't get 911, I automatically called 911. So I'm running towards her, and I left him. I don't know where he is at the moment. My head went into action. Call 911. I see a young man from the doorway in front of me. Black, yellow, and white gym shoes. Gray sweats, a black hoodie, red words on the back of it. He was coddled. And I'm screaming at everybody, don't roll him, don't move him, because if he's shot, bullets travel. Don't touch him. Just keep 911 on the phone and describe the situation. At that moment, I hear somebody screaming from 2-3 cars over. Another young man stuffed up under a truck, screaming, he need help. Then another young man stand in front of me and apologized and tell me he wasn't gonna let them kill him. I have never been to war, but baby, I got PTSD. I wasn't looking at what they did, how they did it, when they did it. I was looking at somebody's baby. Amen. A human. Any of y'all got family, just imagine. Somebody's baby. I don't know many people in Danville. Everywhere I go with my husband. I'm not from Danville, I married a Danvillian. All I wanted to do was try to help. When the officers got there, when they did, I tried to instruct them and let them know who was over here, what was over here. And I pleaded with the young man to put his phone down and to lay down so he can get arrested, so he wouldn't be a victim in front of me. I didn't ask for this. Lord knows I didn't ask for this. Y'all gotta do something. It's not at your doorstep now, but it will be. Trust and believe. Each ward, anywhere they can find trouble, they're finding it because nobody is saying nothing. There's no repercussions, nothing. You can't go to a store, a park, a school, nothing. I moved here because the families were united. I met some good people here. I can't get that young man's out of my head. I can't. Just like when Anaya died, and I had to be the one to call her biological mother, I had nightmares for a very long time. I got no sleep this weekend, none. Y'all got to do something. Don't pacify us. Get out here and really knock on doors and see what these people need and what they want. I love you, Tricia, because every time we need you, you're there. You're always there. And we appreciate you so much. You checked on me. This gotta stop. This gotta stop. Because sooner or later, it's going to be one of yours. This gotta stop.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. You do have 2 zoning petitions before you this evening. Pardon? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward. Please come forward and give your name.
So I went, oh, that's rough. That should never happen, first off. Whew. That should never happen. And here's something else that shouldn't happen. I went on Crime Stoppers website 2 months ago looking just to see what was going on there. It hadn't been updated since January 11th, 2023. Now, I implore, I beg of you, anybody here, go to vccrimestoppers.org. Tell me what you see. Because it's going to be a whole lot of nothing. Because for the past 3 weeks, that website has been done and over with. It was parked at first. Kind of as if, hey, you need to pay us to get this back up and going. No, now it's up for auction. Now you can own this yourself. So my question is, since here's the deal, they're a private nonprofit, I get that, but when you're 100% taxpayer funded and you cannot tell me they are not, I have FOIA'd everybody. And I've given them 6 weeks, which I'm only obligated to give them 30 to give me the last 3 years of their financials since they are 100% taxpayer funded, and I have not heard a peep out of anyone. Where's the money going? Because every other year since 2020, the city of Danville has given them $10,000. Wow. The county gave them $10,000 in ARPA funds back in 2023, I do believe, 22. Where's that money going? Because as of a WCIA news story back in 2019, that year it was very unusual. Well, I don't want to say unusual. Vermilion County had an unusual amount of pretty much saying our Crime Stoppers sucked. I mean, in plain English, 3 tips in a year, payout of $450. That's all that they had paid out in 2019. What have they done since then? Where is this 50 grand that between the city and the county has gone? Where is it? Why is it not being put up as a reward for Anaya Davis? Why is it? Because you can do that, Ricky. You can do that. You all can do that. You can allot those funds. That's our money. Money talks in this town. Okay? It talks. And if you give them enough, they'll talk. And my thing is, there was a comment last week that someone was worried the mayor couldn't survive on $110,000 a year. Are we all doing it? We're all doing it for a whole lot less than that.
I do it on 29,000.
That's all I got.
Thank you, ma'am. This time you have before you 2 zoning petitions. Item 8A is an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance petition number 272. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Yes, Chairman Poor.
Just a couple of questions. I notice persons that have an interest in the property, 2 Mites Treasury, NFP, not for profit. Will they be paying property taxes and other taxes on this property?
If it's not for profit, they will not be.
So we're taking a professional building, giving it to a not-for-profit, and getting nothing.
Not giving it to.
So I think it has been vacant for a long time. It has been unused.
But it's been paying somebody's been paying property taxes on it, right? Greg Tischer or somebody?
We can check.
Well, that was a concern. If we're going to take it off of the professional roles or changing it and giving it to somebody that's not going to be paying taxes, yet benefiting from all the services, kind of got a problem with that.
So this is the former Aunt Martha's property.
Was the former Aunt Martha's?
Yes, sir. Just to verify, team, this is the former Aunt Martha's property on Logan by the hospital, correct?
Yes.
Oh, the old.
So I believe if you all could check on the tax record and see, but I believe that they probably were not
So they
paying
never-
tax. They were not. So it is already a nonprofit. So Chairman, they were not paying property taxes previously.
Okay.
Chairman, did you have any
No,
other
I'm
questions?
good.
Yes, Alderman Arons.
I had similar concern as what Chair Poor had just indicated. And despite the fact that it was not paying property taxes previously, it is a very valuable property, it would seem, in my opinion, with all of the hospital development and other medical development that's going on in the community. The city's had some bad experiences with buildings like this that become uses like this. They've never actually developed. And so if anyone believes in approving this zoning as a good thing, it should be contingent upon the project actually improving the facilities and something happening before that's eligible for them. We don't need another building that is stripped and left. We've torn down enough of them. So I don't know what the capital resources this 2 Mites has available to them, but to do those buildings right, it's probably 6 to 7 figures, high 6 to 7 figures. We saw what it was on the school.
Yes.
Yep. So I concur with Chair Poor and support that.
I can tell you that at least since these folks have owned it, they have taken down a lot of the parts of the building that were falling down. They have cleaned up the property substantially. They have mowed the grass and such. But I also understand and share your concern. Any further discussion? Yes, Alderman.
Have we done an assessment of this building to see if it has any actual use left in it, as old as it's been, and how long has it been since it's been used? Is it even feasible for a project like this? You know, remodeling old buildings is so expensive, and I almost hate to see it being put into limbo unless, in fact, do we have any say-so about when they actually, this is rezoning, but when they actually want to do something, have we got any say-so in the future? Or will this sit and we have to wait?
The only say that we would have is about occupancy and whether or not they bring the property up to code. And if they don't bring it up, then they would not receive a certificate of occupancy.
And if they don't bring it up to code and it just sits there as their property and...
Until it's able to go through the court process, there's not anything that we would be able to do.
And that's a several-year project?
It would be. My other concern, though, I can tell you, is that if we don't attempt to do anything with it, it likely will continue to sit there and be empty. I think Aunt Martha's vacated the building at least a couple of years ago. And so, it's one of those situations. I don't think that there is with what we're facing right now, that there is a great outcome either way.
Okay. Are the people here that want to do this? And
The petitioners here, if you have any questions. Mr. Pickering.
May speak?
Sir, would you like to come forward and introduce? Please introduce yourself, and then the alderman would be happy to answer questions.
Hello, I'm Christopher Pickering. I live in Danville on Oak Street, and we got the building from Aunt Martha's last September. And I'm not sure what information you have, but we plan to do a Bible museum in there. We'd like to renovate it to do that.
Alderman, what questions do you have? For
Again, but you are not for profit then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were not
Number of
paying taxes,
employees,
and we're,
what your employees going to look like, or are you going to have employees?
yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had the building assessed for the amount of work it's going to need, and does it meet all codes?
No, currently it doesn't meet codes. We're working with an architect to do the design for the renovations.
But you currently own the building?
Yes, sir.
And you can still do that work whether it's owned or not, right?
Well,
Because it's a special use permit just for that property.
yes, but we didn't want to invest money into it if we weren't invest money into this project if we wouldn't be able to go through with it. Because we're like, I can't turn it into a museum until you approve the zoning use.
Mr. Butler.
Yeah, I kind of think the house, the building, it's been sitting there for years. And I've talked to this young man, and I don't know if y'all watch these movies, Flip This Old House.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything is possible. And I just admire them to take on that task to try to flip the building. And then to make it out of something that's going to possibly, hopefully, with the help of other people, that building would be used for youth activities. And I kind of think, that's who we need to go ahead on and help this young man if he need a permit or have it rezoned. I think we need to give him that opportunity to make that happen.
Thank you, Alderman.
Yeah.
Any further discussion or debate?
Let's go. But
Yes,
you are
Chairman.
going to be the owner. This other group, are they just investors or?
I'm a part of that nonprofit. My dad's actually the president of it.
Okay.
And then, so he did the purchase of the building, and I'm doing the building project.
Is there a time frame to bring things up to code and everything? Have you got a plan for
We
this?
estimated it would take 5 years to do. We talked to the development people in the town about doing it in 4 stages, because the building has basically 4 wings.
Okay.
So we would do the architecture, or do all the plans for it right now, and then open up the building in phases as it's being remodeled.
Okay. Are you planning on keeping, isn't there several buildings kind of,
It's 3 buildings, basically.
you plan on keeping them all?
That's the plan right now, yeah.
But it's going to be more than just a Bible college, or
A Bible museum. Yeah, so a museum of the Bible stories in 2 wings, so Old Testament, New Testament, and then the 2-story portion of it, which was the orphanage. We'd like to do missions and also how we got the Bible. So the stories from basically the apostles up until the 1700s, and then how Christianity spread through the world from the 1700s till now.
Does it have an elevator in it currently?
It doesn't yet.
So there's $500,000 right there just for an elevator.
Yeah, it needs a lot of work. The copper was taken out, so it needs heat, electricity.
Yes, Alderman.
I'll probably vote for you. But
Thank you.
if it gets to the point where you can't manage it, it's not going to work, let the community know, so maybe something can be done with the building for the future, either torn down or somebody else look at it. I just don't want it sitting there for another 5 or 10 years and nothing happened to it.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Any further? Yes, Alderman Arns.
Special use permits are non-transferable. Is that correct?
Yes, so it's with the petitioner and the specific use only. So if there's a new petitioner comes in for the same, still have to go through the whole process again.
So the building is currently zoned properly and it needs a special use?
So it's zoned professional Sir, and it just needs special use permit for a cultural facility like a Bible museum.
And can that be placed contingent upon a certificate of occupancy?
So we could look into something like that. But if they don't meet the code, if they don't meet because they have to go through a lot of inspections, property code, and if they don't meet them, they won't be receiving a certificate of occupancy, anyways. But
Right, but that doesn't change the designation. That's I was trying to
It's still gonna
have
say
a hook.
P.
Yeah. Okay.
Any further discussion or debate? Yes, Ms. Teague.
Just a comment, which is we are not being tasked or asked for funds. We're simply being asked to change the zoning so that they could potentially proceed with their plans, correct? And I'm saying that just because of the comments that said, giving a building, well, we don't own the building. They own the building already. So it's either let the building sit as it is with the issues that it already has. And you said it was missing copper, so that's a significant issue.
A lot of it's missing.
Yeah, a lot that's missing. Okay. So let the building sit or let them proceed with the plans that they have. Now, if they don't follow through with the plans that they have, then it would be on them to sell the building to someone else in order to try to recoup their funds because they did purchase the building, or relinquish the building, but that's their business, just like any other building in town that somebody might own. And then if they do sell the building to someone else, then the zoning would revert back to office. So I can't see of a legal reason why we would be against this special use permit. It's just that we require a special use permit to change this. If they have the means to proceed, they should by all means be allowed to proceed. So because of that, I will vote to support it. But I wanted to be clear on what is actually on the table because they're not really asking us for anything but a permit.
Yeah. So the zoning remains the same regardless of what we vote. We're only voting on a special use permit to allow the Bible Museum.
Number 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any further discussion or debate? Thank you, Mr. Pickering. Now, roll call, please.
Alderman Butler,
Yes.
DeToy,
Yes.
Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
No.
Streebing,
No.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
No.
Cooper,
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes, the motion carries. You also have before you item number 8B, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance and accompanying map thereto for zoning petition number 312. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
What is it?
Number 2, can you give a brief description of what they're requesting?
So this is for Mr. Fred G. Pierce. He is requesting to zone his property at 434 Avenue B, which is currently industrial zoned, and they want to put a residential there. As per our zoning code, in an industrial zone, residential uses are not allowed. What they want to do is convert it from industrial to residential to build a single-family residence.
This is out in, for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is in the trucking company that's in the Heights. It's on the south side of the road, back off of, I believe, Avenue F. Any discussion or debate? Yes, Ms. Teague.
It looks like, I'm just looking at Google Street View. It looks like there's residential across the street. And I don't know where the property line is based on Street View. There's a parking lot. So are they trying to put a house, are they going to tear down the building and then put a house where the building is? Are they trying to raise the parking lot? And like, how big is the structure that they're trying to build? I'm trying to get an understanding
So
of that.
they are planning on tearing down that residence on the northwest side of the property you see. So that's an existing residential property they've been using as. They want to tear that down and build another larger single family residence on that property. Towards the south, I believe it's a garage or used to be a shop, which they will not be using for that purpose. This was a legal non-conforming use when we did their zoning amendment change in 2008. So this was illegal. So there's a house and a shop, but this is going to be completely residential once it gets approved.
So the building that was the shop will remain, but the house that's there will be
Yes.
raised and then replaced with a new house?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman DeToy. Yes. Bouchard.
Yes.
Hightower.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Poor.
Yes.
Streebing. Oh, okay. Pickering.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Ludwig. Yes. Jones.
Yes.
Arns.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. You have before you the payrolls of April 24th and May 1st, 2026. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Bouchard.
Yes.
Hightower.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Poor.
Yes.
Pickering.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Ludwig. Yes. Jones.
Yes.
Arns.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
DeToy.
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. You also have before you the vouchers payable of April 28th and May 5th, as well as special runs of April 27th and April 30th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Yes, Alderman.
There was a lot of, I assume they're houses or properties that were buying on the tax rolls, the 800 and whatever it is that we bought in the vouchers. Have we got a list of those properties? My memory's short.
Yes, Logan did provide a list of those properties to you previously.
I can make a note to get that sent over to you again.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, and excuse me. Part of those are actually the quarterly liens that we file for utility billing. Those weren't purchased properties, if that's what you're looking at, to the recorder's office.
They were what?
The quarterly liens that we file for utility billing.
The $800 things?
The
We're buying.
Yeah. Yes, no, we're not buying. We put liens on properties quarterly for utility billing. If
Not the $16 thing, the $800.
right, these the Vermilion County Recorder. Right, those are for utility billing. We file quarterly liens.
These are on, so Deputy Comptroller Landis, these are liens based on properties that have not paid their utilities, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. These aren't the purchases then of.
No, Chair, Alderman, unfortunately, those are $1,000 each now.
They're up to 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Hightower.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Poor.
Yes.
Pickering.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Ludwig. Yes. Jones.
Yes.
Arns.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
DeToy.
Yes.
Bouchard.
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we'll receive our Public Services Committee report. Vice Chairman Pickering.
Thank you, Mayor. 11A is, I need a motion and a second to accept and put on file the city clerk's report. Are there any questions?
You need a motion in your second first, Chairman. Like you said.
I'm sorry.
So, second.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just one. We may have talked to Vacation rental. What's the difference between that and an Airbnb?
Airbnb serves breakfast. They serve a
Airbnb
meal.
serves breakfast? I've never been to one.
Excuse me, not an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast serves breakfast, but
Okay.
Airbnb and vacation rental is the same thing.
I just have one by my house, it looks like. Okay. Didn't know that.
I didn't know we had that many Airbnbs.
Is this a voice?
Voice vote, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Oh, voicemail?
All those in, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same side, same sign opposed. Thank you. 11B is I need a motion and a second to accept and put on file the treasury report for February 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side, sign. Thank you. Mayor, items of information from our public service.
Good evening. I do have one item I wanted to mention. Wednesday, so tomorrow from 4:30 to 7:30 at Carl at the Riverfront in that lower level conference room, we will be having the comprehensive plan draft review. And then we will be having another one on Thursday, May 7th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that will be located at Obsidian Coffee. You can enter from either side of Obsidian. I know there's a lot of construction going on, so be careful around it, but you can still access it. The same material is going to be covered in both of these meetings, so you guys can attend either one, whichever works best for your schedule. It's essential that we have your guys' point of view as we go through the draft plan and make sure that it reflects what our community wants, since this is a long-term plan. And then the last part of that is I also posted it on social media with links so that you can review the plan on your own time, and give you guys the opportunity. You can comment what you're thinking or if you have questions on our social media pages, and then I can make sure to get that back to the comprehensive plan team. So whether it's virtual or in person, we want your input, so please share it with us.
Thank you, Rihanna. Our public service meeting will
have
be,
a
I'm
question.
sorry.
Regarding the comprehensive plan, what's the, and I don't know if you have the answer, if Mayor has the answer, what's the process after the public review? Does the comprehensive plan get presented to the council for us to approve? Is there a feedback piece where any information that comes from these meetings gets incorporated into the plan and then there's changes made before it comes to us? I'm just trying to get an understanding and a lay of the land.
So this is the last opportunity to get comments for the plan. After this, it's going to go to a public hearing, which will be at the Planning and Zoning Commission, because they will be working with the comprehensive plan a whole lot. As we spoke to our consultants, there is a 60-day period where it needs to, since the public hearing, it has to be approved or heard by the city council. So it's going to be followed with city council approval hearing. So it's not going to, so it's going to be for multiple meetings. We are going to bring it to all the subcommittees, public services and public works, and to multiple city council before it gets approved. So you'll have a lot of opportunity to review it. And if there is comments after the public hearing, if there is changes, then it's going to start all over again with the public hearing part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Our public service meeting will be May the 26th at 6 o'clock in these chambers, and that concludes our report, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Pickering. This time we'll receive our Public Works Committee report. Chairman Poor.
Thank you, Mayor. We will meet in these chambers next Tuesday, 6 p.m. And everybody's welcome. That's it. Concludes our report, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman. Are there any items of information for the good of the cause? Yes, Alderman T.
I have one. I shared with all of the aldermen today a very extensive study of the city of Oakland and the success that they have had with curbing gun violence in their area. I've also shared it with Project Success. I didn't read through the entire thing, I will admit that. It's 170 pages. So I read through the executive summary. I read through enough details that I felt like it was good enough to share. I will continue to digest it myself. But I also shared it with Project Success. I also shared it with the Davises. I copied Chief Yates on the email. I have shared it publicly. I have shared it with Pastor Hoskins for them to have in their meeting. And I concur with what Mr. Davis said in that it takes all of us. And it's not just my opinion. That's basically what the study says, that it takes all of us. There are essential pieces that are required from every area in order for gun violence to be curbed. So from government, from community organizations, from our religious communities, everyone plays a part. So please digest it on your own, and let's discuss and let's move forward.
Thank you, Alderman. Yes, Alderman Butler.
Yes, I really appreciate Alderman Tig for making that statement that it take us all.
Alderman, can you lower your mic a little bit so make sure they can hear you? Thank you.
That it takes us all to combat this violence and gun shooting within Danville. It's not just a black thing. It's a people thing. We all live here in Danville, and when I was working, I always said that this town was going to be a town for retired people. And so I was wrong. And so now, we have work to do. And I'm hoping that at this meeting that we have on this coming Thursday, that we have black, white, Asian, Hispanics, and all at this meeting, that we all will play a part in trying to combat this violence. This violence is more or less it's a trickle-down effect. I mean, from the White House to the State House and all the way down to the municipalities. And so only we here in Danville as a family can take care of all this violence. I always tell some kids all the time that when I go to schools and they want to resort to fighting, and I tell them, I'm going to go old school on you, son. I mean, they said we used to put chip on our shoulders as you knock it off, and the battle is on. You cross this line, the battle is on. And so that's what we tell those kids. I mean, so you put your hand on that person, we're going to put our hands on you. And so when I was coming up, my parents, heard about me fighting. When I got home, I got a whooping. My parents didn't go to no school and raise hell with those principals and teachers. I expect my son to come here to act like he got some sense. And so, yes, it takes, like Brother Davis said, it takes, parental guidance, but it also takes community guidance as well. If I was out of my neighborhood and, the neighbors tell me, Butler, the light's getting ready to come on, you better start getting home. I went home. And it disturbed me Sunday when I heard a young lady said that they got those rings on those doors there, and then whenever somebody come by, then it'll ping or ring, and it'll come up on your phone and all that stuff. And this was 3:00 in the morning. And sometime when a dog or animal go by, it would go off. But it kept going off. And she happened to got up and look out her door. And there were 3 little kids. Can't be no more than 9, 10, 11 years old. You're looking in cars. They're trying to get in the car. I mean, where's the parents? Now, I would say at this time, where's the parents? Those little bitty kids out there, 9, 10, 11 year old. And so that goes to let me know that there's something that we as parents need to do, we as a community has to do. It takes a village to raise a child. And so we got to wrap our hands and our arms around our police force to make sure that we call them, that's what they got 911 for. Call them. And I know that they're not going to be like other towns. They're not going to respond. They're going to respond. And if they don't respond, but then they're going to hear from this council. So don't be afraid, parents. You know, if you notice anything that's out of the ordinary, call the police. I like that Chicago syndrome, but you know, when the police is called, the alderman that's in that ward is called also. And I don't mind going out. We've done it before. The Three Kings, we be out 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we get a call and we go out to see what's going on in our city. And I kind of think we as a village there, so we need to do the same thing. It's a people thing. It's a people thing. So I'm hoping that we see each and every one of you that's here tonight, you know, at that meeting on Thursday night. I think it's at 6:30? Yes, sir. 6:30. At Laurel Lee Fellowship House. I think the address is 212 William Street. Yeah.
12 East Williams, as Alderman Teague said.
Yeah, okay, all right then. Let us be there. And let us do something. Let's take our city back. Let's take it back. Let's take it back. Let's take it back.
Thank you, Alderman Butler.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. You have before you item 14, an ordinance setting compensation for treasurer commencing in 2027 and ending in 2031. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Before we go into discussion, we had asked our corporation counsel to prepare an opinion about whether or not this could be changed to an appointed position, and if so, how. At this time, corporation counsel is going to provide you a summary of his findings.
So briefly, the municipal code has a list of positions that are to be elected. There is no home rule preemption associated with that. Section 6F clearly states that the municipality can set the terms of office and the manner of selection, which could be either by ordinance or referendum. Danville's government was specifically imposed by a federal consent decree back in 1987. The position of city treasurer, according to this consent decree, is an elected position. There is no specific mention in the decree that the treasurer's position could be revisited thereafter. There is a very specific reservation of jurisdiction by the federal court to supervise the implementation of the consent decree. Typically, the way a consent decree ends is that it sunsets according to its own terms, of which there is none in this case, or a party petitions the court to release jurisdiction and prove substantial compliance. I haven't found any evidence that the city has done that. We've contacted the U.S. District Court in Urbana. Due to the age of this case, they've got some digging to do. So it would be a matter of housekeeping. If there hasn't been any petition to release jurisdiction, we would file a motion to amend the final consent decree, asking for finding that all the obligations in that decree have been satisfied and releasing jurisdiction. I believe they would. And at that point, as a home rule municipality, we can change the position of treasurer from elected to appointed by referendum or ordinance.
Chairman Poor.
Does the recent Supreme Court ruling have any effect on this?
No.
No. Okay.
Any discussion or debate on the, yes, Alderman Arons.
So for clarification, we're anticipating the process to do that will take how much? How long? Any clue?
Yeah, I don't think there would be any real objection to this. It's really, I see it as a matter of housekeeping. We should hear back from the clerk's office rather quickly. I would assume in the next few days. And if we needed to, it could be done. I don't know what the docket is like in federal court at this time, but I would say within 30 to 60 days.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion or debate? Yes, Alderman Teague.
I think a change of any magnitude should go to the people for vote by referendum. I understand the concerns that we have had with our prior treasurers. I know the issues that have occurred and the tremendous amount of work that our current treasurer and his department has done to clean it up. But I also think that the people should decide what should happen there, just like the people decided what happened as it pertained to city manager and any other significant changes as it relates to government. It should be decided by the citizens and not by us. I think we can make recommendations. I think we can tell them what we think, but I think it should be decided by the people. That's just my personal opinion.
Thank you. And just to be clear, we are not making any kind of recommendation regarding that.
Yes, I am aware of that. But I also think that if we were to get to that point, that needs to be brought up to make a determination of whatever direction we're going to go. And so if we move down the path of, we're going to vote as a council to then sit it to federal court, well, let's take a beat before we get there and say, well, maybe we should vote as a council to send this to referendum.
Alderman Arns, did you have a further?
I did. I was going to ask, once again, as far as timing, if that impacted into that window of when decisions have to be made before the office is filled. So that's 6 months out.
October would be the last date.
I think that the first meeting in October is the first one that is the last opportunity we would have to make any adjustments. One concern that I know that I have is, if we're going to take it to referendum, that takes a substantial amount of time, as you know. And we need to make sure that we consider that. The other thing that I would say is, even if we could get it on the docket and think about it through ordinance, which I also have some concern about, some major concern about, then that could take a while, depending. I mean, it takes us several months just to get a court case for bad houses across the way. So it could take a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, I do think this will be a process. I don't disagree with the process that was suggested. That's good for everybody. So I will support the increase because I think we need to, so we're not under a gun at some point later, time-wise. I would like to find out if there's a way if we can do some more research to confirm whether we've satisfied the terms of the consent decree. I think that's the most important thing the public's going to want to know first, is have we complied with it? Have we satisfied the interests of it? And of course, none of us were around when that was created, so it'll be good information for everybody. So, okay, thank you.
That was here.
Alderman Butler.
And so the information that the council is waiting for, so we're not going to vote on this 414 and 15 until we get that information, or I'm trying to get a better understanding, council.
No, I think you can vote however you see fit today. It's just a matter of when we start that process to actually make that change, and we'll have to address the consent decree first.
And so that consent decree, it doesn't really affect these two ordinances there then, and it's what you're saying, that we can vote on whether we get the consent decree or not?
Well, simply as a home rule municipality, I think you have the power to determine whether or not the treasurer's position is elected or appointed. But back in 1987, the consent decree, the federal court retained jurisdiction to make sure that everything that it ordered was complied with. And I don't think they've released jurisdiction. So it would be a matter of getting before the court, having a motion for them to release jurisdiction and explaining that we've complied with what you've wanted, and so asking to release that jurisdiction so that we can do what you seek to do in changing the treasurer's position.
Alderman Arns.
And just to clarify on that, that's typical of consent decrees. The city's been under consent decrees. The landfill was the most recent that we appealed and won the ability to get out of that consent decree.
Yeah, so now, did you do it, made that agreement before or after you got the consent decree?
The consent decree already existed from years prior. We felt we had met all the conditions of the consent decree. We appealed to EPA, and you can imagine how long that process was. It was probably a couple of years before it finally got released.
I was a young
maybe longer.
I was a young alderman when you all started the process.
15 years.
So yeah. So it could take time. That's why I'm willing to support the increase.
Yes, Alderman Teague.
I'll state here because I stated it at Public Services, but I don't believe that everyone was, I know everyone wasn't here. I agree with an increase to make it grammatically correct, for the treasurer. I do not agree with this significant of an increase for treasurer. The trajectory that we put both the treasurer and the mayor's position on, and I know that they're not both under this item, but the trajectory that we put both the mayor and the treasurer's position on was $5,000 annually. That was a compromise that the council reached 4 years ago, and I would love for us to continue on that trajectory. And I think that that is reasonable. I think that that would be a good compromise. But I can't support significant increases for either position. So for this particular one, I will be voting no. And I just wanted to put on the table that an alternative had been presented.
Thank you, Alderman Teague. Yes, Chairman. Corey.
So we're going from 65 to 90, and then a 3% raise thereafter for the other 3 remaining years, right?
That is correct. That's what the treasurer has proposed.
And we also have to realize there's 2 pension payments the treasurer receives each month as well, right?
Right.
That adds to the overall salary. I have no problem with the 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%. But like you say, I mean, a $25,000 bump in 1 year, even though Chris has done an excellent job, his whole department, but you know, I know my Social Security increase was only 2.8%, you know, which is what most of the people are dealing with, you know. I mean, I could support a 3% across the board, but I can't. I think that's just too much of a bump right off the bat.
Yes, Alderman Cooper.
And I agree with both Trish and Mike. You know, there's no academic requirements for this treasurer position, so anybody could get it. And if we ran into the wrong person, we'd run into a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. And we're only giving all the city employees 2% and 3% raises every year, and here we are giving treasurer and the mayor. I mean, treasurer, we're going to give them about 35% raise, and mayor in that general vicinity too. I agree with Mike, 3% all the way through, just like we're giving the city employees would be fair to me too, unless we get this position appointed where we're going to have educational requirements for it, then I might support a bigger one. But right now, I can't do it either.
Alderman Arns.
Or mayor or council, either one, if that is not achieved before the election happens, will the individual that's elected be locked in for 4 years? Or if there is a referendum at the midterm and it goes to an appointed position, that term would end at that point? Or would they be guaranteed to serve the full 4 years? Because if that's the case, we're talking about a 4-year salary here.
So, yeah, you can't change the pay rate.
I know you can't change the pay rate. My question is, can you terminate the position? If the voters have approved to eliminate that and go to an appointed position, do we have the authority as home rule to do that immediately? Or does that need to be at the end of the term?
Yeah, at the end of currently it's the position's for a 4-year term.
So if we vote yes, it's locked in for 4 years.
That's my understanding.
Alderman T.
It seems to me like because there's so much that's up in the air with this and the legal ramifications, that it would make sense to table this until we have more information so that when we make a vote, that we vote appropriately based on all of the information and not with the risk of information that would be relevant coming in 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 weeks later. And we have time. We don't have to vote on this now. This is not actually required to be voted on until October, as you've already stated. So I'd like to make a motion to table this until we actually have additional information. And I would say table it for a month until the first meeting in June, because that would give Corporation Counsel enough time. You're indicating that a response might be imminent from federal court, but in the event that it's not quick, hopefully it would be back to you in a month. So I would like to make a motion to table this.
Second.
Okay, cool.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion to table?
You know, it does make sense to me because I would probably support this thing if it was an appointed position with requirements. And right now, it's an elected position, no requirements, and that's what I'm hesitating on, to be honest with you. So I would rather see the outcome on this before I make that decision. So
I'd just say it would be hard for me to vote on this because of the unknown contingencies, potential contingencies. A lot of things are up in the air. So to vote on it, I really wouldn't know what I'm voting for. And if that vote would change the meaning of certain contingencies coming into play later on. So it's a hard hill to climb.
Any further discussion or debate? Yes, Alderman.
Well, before we vote, but is it possible before our next month, we get a copy of this ruling that happened in '87? I tried to find it online and could not find it. I got one page and they wanted me to join something. At number two, I was always hearsay was told that this ruling says that you have to have either a clerk or a treasurer elected. I want to know if that's part of this deal. And then three, I read in our rules someplace that if we don't pass this, we take a vote and don't pass it, you can't vote on it again for another 22 months. So I'd like to make sure that we get it right first time.
I'll send each of you a copy of that consent decree.
Okay, and check out the other questions.
I will.
At this time, we have a motion to table to the first city council meeting in June. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pickering?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Ludwig? Yes. Jones?
Yes.
Arns?
Yes.
Cooper?
yes.
Butler,
Yes.
DeToy,
Yes.
Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. Item 15 is an ordinance setting compensation for the mayor commencing in 2027 and ending in 2031. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Alderman Arns.
Yes, as I've mentioned before, take one down, pass it around. I'll get back to my microphone. We've had a lot of discussion on this, obviously, and while my concept of review didn't go over so well last meeting, I wanted to focus on the items that have had a lot of discussion, and that is risk. What is the risk to the city if the salary were not to be increased and qualifications of the individual in the position did not meet the standards?
Same thing.
I've got 5 or 6 items here that I believe are directly related to that type of risk. And I would suggest that the risk is already with us and present. The first item, if you've all got those documents to look at, are the second and third pages, which were presented to the city council the last time you discussed raises in 2022. There was going to be discussion on elected officials' compensation. Some of you that were around at that time may remember my attendance at those meetings. Those of you that were not here probably don't know anything about this. But it's something that I caught when I happened to be reading minutes, was not in any official capacity at that time. But it disturbed me because as a 30-plus year employee of IMRF, I'm very in touch with what benefits are and are not within IMRF. And in this particular case, the mayor and the administration presented an ordinance that suggested that the state statute required that any IMRF retirees that served as alderpersons could not be paid. And that was never the case. That was never the law. That was never anything that they intended to do with the law. The law was created, and I remember when it was. There were a lot of pension spiking going on in the communities up north, and they wanted to stop that. So what the law says is actually what's on the statute page. And if you look at the second page of that, you can see all the wording that was removed from the state statute in order to be able to rule that all aldermen could not be paid if they are IMRF retirees. Now, I don't understand why this was done, and that's the question I have. Alderman Johnson works at District 118. I can't imagine how many hundreds of employees or retirees that were part of the IMRF system. City government, of course, county government, of course. The ordinance was not specific to the fact whether SLEP within IMRF involved or not, because SLEP is law enforcement officers, county law enforcement officers, but they are part of IMRF. The intent of the ordinance was to stop elected officials from retiring and then coming back to the very same elected position and getting paid again. It exempts and provides a waiver, which is the reason I'm sitting here today, for any IMRF retirees who have never held that specific elected position. And that's all the language that was removed when this was presented before the council. And so, to me, this goes to the potential for the abuse of the office. There was never an explanation why there was an attempt to disenfranchise all IMRF retirees within the city of Danville. As you can see, the language in the original statute is very clear. It's all elected officials. Doesn't say alderpersons, doesn't say anything. The administration took that language, removed the word elected officials, replaced it with the word alderpersons, which by effect then excluded the mayor's position from that requirement. It would only be alder people that would be affected. And so obviously I felt that was an egregious abuse of the office by going after IMRF retirees with no stated reason. And I objected to that. And about 3 meetings later, it evaporated. Either because I was suggesting it was ripe for class action litigation or because somebody finally called IMRF. But what I will tell you is when that was presented and when I questioned that, the legal counsel for the administration, his response for how that happened was that it was a typo. Now, I'd like for all of you to look at that and tell me if you believe removing the words elected officials and replacing it with alderpersons is a typo in your mind. So, in my opinion, this was an attempt by the administration to discourage IMRF retirees from being able to serve.
Excuse me, Doug. You said administration, this administration or the past administration?
It was in 2022, so Mayor Williams and whomever the administration and legal counsel was at that time, and of course that was the council members at the time, and I know some of us weren't around. But to me, this goes to risk, and this is the risk, because as we've talked about, this position does not require qualifications, and there is no accountability for it, other than every 4 years. And so these are the kinds of risks, and the reason I'm pointing these out is because increasing the pay from $75,000 to $110,000 didn't save us from the risks. The next item that I would suggest, and once again, if someone wants to try to explain to me that removing the words elected officials and replacing it with alderpersons is not with intent, I'm interested in that conversation, because this is intentional. And so there's still yet to this day been an explanation on why that was attempted. Why was it ever on the agenda? No answers. Second item, as for apples and apples, we've talked about the compensation. I would note that Danville, in its population count, has about 1,700 prisoners included in that. And I don't think any of our directors or mayors or anybody else provide a lot of services to those 1,700 prisoners. That was as of 2024, how many they had. And so I think when we're trying to calculate what we're actually costing per resident in cost, you got to delete the prisoners because they're not paying taxes and they're not getting services. So we're really a community of 27,500 people. And therefore, in my opinion, it does not justify the increase. But if you're going to calculate those numbers, you should do so without the prisoners. The next item that I would suggest is not apples to apples, is the mayoral compensation that was listed for all those individuals goes back to the duties and responsibilities. And we heard a lot of discussion and talk about the responsibilities and duties of the office. And I agree, they are immense. However, if we're going to start comparing pay, I would suggest the settlement that was required from Azavar of $1.385 million of tax money, because we proposed to the council and then signed an agreement that had no limitations on how much a third party could take from us over grammatical errors, typos, or in our particular case, a drafting error. They did nothing for our streets, they did nothing for infrastructure, and this community is now obligated to pay them $1.385 million because the mayor and the administration proposed to the council, which approved, and they then signed an agreement that left open ends. And that is basic government purchasing and financial. Every contract, I can't imagine how many contracts I've negotiated. Every one of them either had a fixed amount or an amount that said maximum not to exceed. There are situations where you don't know because the project's developing and those things are going. Those words maximum not to exceed are what always protects the community's finances from an open-ended check. We ended up with an open-ended check. Their initial demands were in the millions. The city settled on a $1.385 million. So I have a problem because that's to the level of compensity and risk, as was discussed. So once again, going from 75 to 110 didn't resolve that level of risk. Our citizens are now paying 1.3, and gas payers, I should say, are paying $1.385 million. So in my world and in my mind, you add that to the cost of the mayor's office, which means if you deduct that out over a 4-year period, the city of Danville is or will be equivalent to paying $450,000 a year for its executive level leadership, which puts it at the top of all three charts, way above. Most of those that are comparable at those numbers, they got city managers knocking down $250,000 to $300,000 a year. They don't make those mistakes. This is not something that is common, totally uncommon. There should have been language in the contract that addressed typos, grammatical errors, drafting errors, and other things that if by intent it's clear, the city is not obligated. I was never contacted on that. Now, as we know, we had that information, or some had that information for quite some time. Once again, I ran across it just because I happened to be reading minutes. The fact is that the administration, in order to resolve that debt, proposed a 9-cent gas tax increase and was suggesting to the council that that was what was required by the agreement and law. Mm-hmm. Myself and others stepped forward and said that has never been the intent, that it was always Part B, and that the documents that had been billed showing the increases over that 10-year period or whatever it was certainly confirm that. I talked with the mayor about that. He said that intention mattered nothing, and it was what's in writing. Now, I'm not an attorney, but what I don't know is would it have been a better argument to say, no, the intent was not for what Azavar thought it was. It was for another purpose, and we have documentation for that. But the real problem I have with it was the lack of professional level due diligence in researching what really happened. And my FOIA to the city was to find out, did anyone at the city, the mayor or anyone else, contact any of the four of us that were critical to putting this together? As you've heard, I've been suggested to have done everything in that prior administration. That was never the case. But I will tell you this, I was absolutely the person that developed that local gas tax. And during that whole period while this was being considered, I was in at least a half a dozen meetings with His Honor, and he never mentioned it once. Never asked what happened. Didn't want to know the background. By the FOIA, they didn't speak with Mayor Eisenhower.
Point of order. Are we campaigning now? Because I don't think in our with this we can campaign, and it sounds to me like we're campaigning.
I think $1.385 million is a risk. We're talking about risk. That's what was brought up. So the gas tax then comes about once again on a inaccurate narrative, and people are getting ready to approve a 9-cent gas tax. They did approve a 4-cent gas tax, but even people in the public reached out to Mayor Eisenhower, and everyone confirmed. Gail Brandon, myself, Mayor Eisenhower, and David Schnell all knew it was Part B and always was. And the comptroller in this administration confirmed that's how it got billed every year. The increase every year was based on Part B. So once again, there's value. I agree there's risk. That's why the other 25 people have professionals that don't make those mistakes. The local gas tax.
I object to this line of discussion because it's campaigning that disrupts the regular agenda. This is out of order, and I concur with Alderwoman Pickering that this needs to stop. This is not parliamentary procedure.
Bringing up factual information.
Are you making a motion, Alderman?
I am.
That the commentary cease?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
Yes, I got a discussion too, because I think I was here when that was approved.
Alderman, the discussion now is on.
Right. What I'm saying,
Alderman, the discussion now is on the motion, on whether or not you are
you're right
supporting or
that the
concluding
motion
debate.
was to stop this giving us the information.
Campaigning.
Right.
Campaign.
So the discussion needs to be based on whether or not you agree on stopping the commentary, the campaigning.
Yeah, well, I kind of think he should continue there. If they don't want to hear it, they can just leave. This is important information there. So we just spent $1.385 million when we didn't have to. And so we're liable for $450,000 a year.
It's a different payment schedule. You'd have to look at the last page.
Yeah,
for that.
I mean, this is something that's very vital, some funding that we could have had in this administration.
You're correct, but it is
Then it
campaigning.
seemed like that y'all don't care.
Is there any further discussion or debate on the motion? Yes, Alderman Arens.
I would only note that those making the motions are also those that participated in the item where they were trying to change the number of votes. So if you want to talk about campaigning, that's relevant. We can dance all night.
Any further discussion or debate? Yes, Alderman Hightower.
You know, this is my first year, and I'm learning a lot. Only thing I could say, I'm not learning too much. I'm just watching people throw darts at each other. I'm here to learn. People that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Amen. 'Cause little do you know, I know a lot that's going on. I just keep my mouth shut. I knew about the past administration 'cause I done my homework. This needs to be a learning for guys like me and Alderman Jones. One thing everybody needs to know, I'm the wrong man to get fired up. The wrong one. So I suggest we do this the right way and stay the hell out of people's personal lives and what they feel. Keep your personal opinions to yourself. We don't learn from this. I'm watching all of this. What am I learning? I know Scott Eisenhower and the rest of that crew was stealing. Come on. Think I don't know?
That's enough of that one.
Alderman.
Man, it don't make a difference. If they're gonna mess with, they're gonna tell it, tell it.
Thank you,
Shit.
Alderman. I appreciate you. Thank you. Any further
Don't care
discussion or
how
debate
you
on the,
feel.
on the motion?
I guess I would just, can someone please define what it was that was campaigning? These are all facts. These are
They aren't
from
facts, they're
minutes
manipulations.
of meetings. These are facts.
Is there any further discussion or debate on the motion? The motion is to discontinue campaigning. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Butler?
Hold on, wait. The motion, we're voting on the point of order motion, not on, okay. I just want to make sure.
So, yes is, and a no is,
A yes is to the point of order that Alderman Ludwig brought to discontinue that line of
Campaigning.
and no is to continue the discussion.
So what could, so we're gonna dictate what he can say and what he can't say?
Yep, that's exactly right.
This is not my motion. I have no
I
part
know.
of this.
So what is the motion?
The motion is to discontinue the campaigning because it's against the Roberts Rules of Orders and against our line of agenda. It's against our agenda. It's not moving forward with our
I
agenda.
understand, but who's making that determination?
That is a
One
campaign.
person saying it isn't, one person says it is.
It is us making that
Are we voting?
determination.
Yeah.
So are we making a determination that he's campaigning, or are we just making a determination that we should discontinue the discussion for that the points that Alderman Arens are bringing up? Because I think that needs to be clarified as well. I've never been in a particular situation where there was a point of order and now we're talking about discontinuing a discussion. Right. I get when someone might be irate or things of that nature, that I've seen point of order be called then, and then someone as a result of someone being irate, and then the meeting going off kilter as a result of that. This is a discussion, and we have discussed many of things. And so I want to make sure that I understand what we're voting on. Are we voting on the fact that we're saying that Alderman Arns is campaigning and therefore we should just discontinue the discussion? Or are we only talking about discontinuing a discussion without making any judgment as to what Alderman Arns is or isn't doing? Because I would concur with people who are saying, well, we need a definition of what campaigning is. There's been lots of things that we have discussed in the past that were, that have been said in the past in this forum that were much more egregious than this. And so point of order was never called then. And so I would welcome a definition for my own knowledge and to be able to vote on what is and isn't campaigning as it relates to Robert's Rules of Order. And I'm more than happy to look it up because I actually happen to have Robert's Rules. If this is my iPad, I have it bookmarked. Yep, this is mine.
Well, and point of order, the lawyer is the parliamentarian.
So I think everybody agrees that this is not the forum for campaigning.
Exactly.
I'm not opining on what Alderman Arns was saying is campaigning. What I believe the point of order stated or was looking to address was the discussion concerning item 15, setting compensation for mayor commencing in 2027 and ending in 2031. So the point of order, I believe, should address not whether that was campaigning, but whether that discussion should end as it wasn't relating to item 15. And
Correct.
I think
As taxpayers, we should know.
Yeah, I apologize, but it's not a time for comment from the audience.
I think bringing up the risks as it relates to item 15 would be seen as proper. Reliving an issue in detail, in this case, as of R, I don't see that it relates to item 15.
Alderman Wands. Okay, Detoy.
Maybe I'm all wrong, but my understanding of a discussion is interreaction, and all I have received in the last 20 minutes is information. It's not a discussion when not one person is talking.
According to Robert rules, one person is supposed to talk at a time, and we're supposed to be acknowledged by the chair. Now, we're very loose with those rules as a body, but that is actually how Robert rules is supposed to work. So he gets to talk because he has the floor, and then we have to raise our hands and then be acknowledged by the chair to talk. Most of the time, Mayor Williams gives us latitude and allows us to speak so that we're not talking over each other. However, there have been times where he has gavelled us and said, so-and-so has the floor and they can proceed. So for him to be talking and he's the only one talking, that is exactly how Robert rules is supposed to work. Whether or not we agree with what he said or how he said it, that is actually how order is maintained in a following Robert's rules.
And I want to state for the record that personally, or neither personally nor professionally, do I have any problem with this. I'll be happy to address any and everything that is stated because we're used to manipulation. So there is a motion on the floor. If you vote yes, it would just continue Alderman Arns' discussion of these items. If you vote no, it would allow it to continue. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Butler.
No.
Carolyn.
I'm sorry. No allows it to continue, and yes ceases the conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Detoy.
No.
Pashard.
Yeah.
clarify this again. I need to listen a little bit more.
Yes, sir. If you vote no, then Alderman Aros can continue with his statements, and if you vote no, then he cannot. I mean, yes, then he cannot.
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
No. No.
O'Kane,
After listening to our dear departed Alderman, Mr. Black, for years and years, who could talk for hours, I gotta say no.
Poor,
No.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
No.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Barnes,
No.
Cooper,
No.
Alderman Orange, the floor is. Sorry.
9 yes.
Alderman Orange.
I can be very brief from this.
Nine.
point.
I know.
You mean 9 no, correct?
Excuse me, 9 no.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Yes, Alderman, go, please continue.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The other, and once again, to be very clear, these are the reasons you should vote no on the increase. That's the whole point. I didn't bring up the issue of risk. The mayor and other aldermen did. This is my response to risk based on research and knowledge that I have. And that's what our citizens deserve. They're elected officials. I don't agree that we're subordinate. So we are elected officials. It's our responsibility for oversight and accountability. And this is factual information. This is because the mayor happens to be the one sitting in the office at this time is why it's the mayor. Who else could it be? It can't be a fictitious person. So anyway, I'll leave it with that. As I stated, another thing that I think was a huge risk to this form of government and this city was part of the administration and its desire to change a number of votes that it took, which it worked with the aldermen to do so. That was rejected. And lastly, I believe aldermen should be notified that if we're going to a major community program with the intention of reducing their budget by 25%, I believe it's professionally expected that they would contact the city council to let them know we're going to go do that to one of our community partners. None of us knew that, or at least I didn't know that was going to happen. I was caught totally off guard, and it created a lot of angst. It is what it is. These are the reasons you should vote no based on merit and warrant. The other two reasons I will be voting no is because, as has been stated, this community has challenges, and we don't need to pay elected officials over six figures that can't be held accountable. And so that's number two. And number three is, as you all know exactly why, and that is because I may be a potential recipient of this compensation package, and I will not vote for it for that reason. So my vote's a no, and these are the reasons I'm encouraging you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. To address a couple of items, number one, it was a recommendation by Corporation Council. I did not have anything to do with the drafting of that. Number two, you said that we shouldn't count prisoners. However, the state law says otherwise. There was a law passed in, I think it was 2021 or 2022, No Representation Without Population Act. As of 2030, you no longer count the prison in your census population. So we are statutorily accurate under Illinois state law. That is something that goes into effect in 2030. Let's see. Number three, you have to always, whenever you're dealing with laws, you have to follow what the law actually says. Not someone's interpretation, not what happened 20 years ago or somebody thought 20 years ago when they said this. You have to follow the law as it's written. If we don't follow the law as it's written, we risk taking away people's rights and other things in a major way that can cause horrible problems for the community. The way the statute was written that you wrote said that we were supposed to do the formula a certain way. I'm glad that you told the community that you in fact wrote it.
I did not write it. I
Well,
said
you-
I was responsible for developing the local gas tax
That's not
concept.
what you
I
said.
didn't draft ordinances, Mayor.
Well, you were responsible for it. And the bottom line is that
So
in,
was the
in
mayor?
writing, as I have the floor, I didn't interrupt you. Thank you very much. In writing, it said that we were supposed to calculate the gas tax a certain way. Now, the comptroller failed to calculate it properly, and as a result, as of our found that as part of their contract. And we had to correct that. And so we could either follow exactly what it said, which was 9 cents, or we could come up with a compromise and come up with a new formula, and that is what we in fact proposed, so that it wasn't as hard on the people. However, we were still able to use the money, keep gas tax money coming so we could fix our roads, and that allowed us to have other money to do things like fix up the parks, to free up more money so that we could do things like fix up the parks. I don't know about you all, but I've heard from everyone how much they appreciate that. Also, yes, the additional 4 cents, you know what? That's helped us to fix a lot of roads. I'm really proud. One thing that I'm really proud of this council about is that we've touched over 70% of the roads in some ways under this administration, and we continue to make great progress on that. Now, not every road is great. As one of the ladies mentioned earlier today, absolutely, we still have some potholes. 'Tis the season, and we are going to be out there working on it. Director Rui and his team are going to be busting hump to make sure that we get our roads back in shape as good as possible. But it does allow us to provide additional support to our citizens in terms of improved roads. This discussion about conspiring behind the scenes to change votes never happened with me. So this is what I can tell you. Other people were talking about how do we change it, because as Alderman O'Kane has asked multiple times to clarify what does it mean when we vote? We've had this discussion at council 2 times. There was no conspiracy, but once again, we're interested in manipulation and trying to make people look bad. But it doesn't necessarily relate to the truth. And that's important, that is that we stick with the truth. As far as bullying our partners, one thing that you and I have agreed on quite a bit in the past is that we need to eliminate any unnecessary positions. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that it makes sense to have somebody that's paid $50,000 a year plus salary and benefits, which is close to $100,000 a year, to deliver books, while also having another person that's supposed to be out in the community putting on programs making $50,000 a year, but plus benefits. Almost $200,000 in salary for positions that do the same thing. And if you look at the calendar, there's no way those are 40-hour-a-week positions. So we are spending almost $250,000 for 2 positions at the library for folks that don't do very much. Now, they are wonderful people. But are their jobs worth $250,000? Absolutely not. So when I asked the library to reduce their budget, that was part of the consideration, was that we eliminate positions that were not effectively serving the community so that we can have positions that do effectively serve you in this community. Because it's important that we meet your needs. And if the library was not meeting your needs, then we absolutely should have asked them to cut the positions, because it's a waste of money. And I refuse to waste your taxpayer dollars.
My man.
Sorry, excuse politics.
Any further discussion or debate? Yes, Mrs. Pickering.
Yeah, I handed out 2 of the handouts that, Alderman Teague gave us one, and so did the mayor. So I want to compare some things, but what we need to remember is the collection of data is someone collecting data that their bias is in mind. So I compared these 2 papers that we got. So if you have those, compare, okay? So first of all, my comparing apples to apples, is to look at the job description and the responsibilities. The Danville mayor duties are traditional mayor activities, overall departments, including fire, park, county transit, and library. So on your handouts, there are 4 cities that do both. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first one is Alton, and it's the mayor is not responsible for library and county transit. Our mayor is. Belvedere, their mayor is not responsible for the fire, park, and county transit. Our mayor is. Then we go down to Granite City, okay? Their mayor is not responsible for the library, park, and county transit, but our mayor is. Then we go back over to Quincy, and Quincy's, their mayor is not responsible for the park district, but our mayor is. Now look back at your administration manager and your mayors. So if you look at that, the combined salaries, you will see that 28 out of 34 are paid over $200,000. Out of that, 16 out of those are paid over $300,000, and out of that, there's some that are paid over $400,000 to $600,000, and are not even responsible for all the duties that our mayor is doing. So I do agree with Alderman Arns. If we are paying that much, we should be able to fire them if they don't do the job. The position of our Danville mayor he doesn't even make anything close to that, but he's responsible for all those jobs. And so I think we can all agree, absolutely, what what we want. Let me start all over, I'm sorry. I think we can all agree we absolutely want a mayor who has the knowledge and capability of running the city. Alderman Arns stated at one of our meetings that there was some speculation some years ago that the mayor's salary was kept low to keep the pool of candidates down, and that could happen. If the salary is not high enough, we run the risk of having someone that cannot handle the demands and responsibilities as being mayor. We want to attract someone capable of performing the job that our city requires. As far as holding the mayor accountable, we are not a city manager form of government, so we cannot play by their rules. But what I will say, I feel it is part of the duty of us, the city council, to hold the mayor responsible. We can have the final say on a lot of things. Also, the citizens of Danville will hold the mayor responsible at the next election. So I do feel, due to the responsibilities and the mayor, the salary of the future mayor should be raised.
Alderman Teague. Thank you, Alderman Pickering.
I wasn't going to say all of the same things that I had said previously. I was only going to make a couple of brief statements on this, but I have since changed my mind. So first point that I'm going to make, because these are the first two statements that I was going to make. One is I will not be voting on this. I will be abstaining because I have already thrown my hat in the ring, and it'd be improper for me to vote one way or another. If I were voting on this, I would be voting no on this as it is written, because I've already stated that significant of an increase is too much. I've always believed that. I still believe that. And I would be voting no, knowing that I would be potential recipient of this, because to me, integrity is doing what's right, even if it's not right for you. And so even though if I were in the position, I know the money would be coming to me, I still would think it was too much. And so I would be voting no. But regardless of what the amount is, even if someone made a motion to put in the compromise that I suggested, I still would not vote, because that's what integrity is. So I wanted to make sure I said that. I'm also going to say that I take personal offense to the fact that it is insinuated that I was looking at the data from a biased point of view. So I will tell you my approach to looking at data, because I look at data a lot, because I almost went back to school for a data science degree. That's how much I love data. What I did was I actually went and just gathered information. This was 4 years ago. This was not recently. This was 4 years ago. I just went and gathered information to see what information was out there, because I use data to help me make decisions. I don't have to agree with what the data says, because the data can show me that my initial opinion might have been wrong. And if the data showed me something specific, I would then therefore go with what the data said, because the data informed my position in my opinion, not the other way around. I did not go into this with a specific opinion. I went to see what the data had to say first. So what I did was I gathered all of the data, and I will tell you, because I have a spreadsheet that I haven't shared. Why? Because nobody else would understand it but me. because I have synthesized the data. Not because I synthesized the data trying to find a specific answer. I synthesized the data to get to a data set that made sense. So when you have 500 municipalities, which is where my spreadsheet starts, and then you say, okay, am I going to analyze all of these, or am I going to analyze the ones that make sense based on where we are as a city? And so I chose to analyze the ones that made sense based on where we are as a city. And so I said, okay, first, let me look and see form of government for every city that's in the top 100. And I literally went through, this took me a long time. I literally went through and said, okay, yes, manager, no, not manager. Oh, do they have a council? Do they have trustees? Do they have aldermen? How does this work on every single city? And then I filtered out everything that was not mayor and alderman. Okay, so that eliminated a bunch of people because I only wanted to look at what was like us. And then even for the ones that look like they were mayor aldermanic, I was like, let me go to their website and see if they have a city manager, if they have a chief of staff, if they have anything that looks like a managerial level position that requires some sort of advanced degree to help the mayor run the city. And then based on what I found, I took out everybody that had a chief of staff, that had a city manager, or any other chief administrator type of position. And so what I was left with was this list. And then I looked at salaries. This is the list that the data showed, not because Tricia was looking for anything specific. If this list had showed that every other mayor made $125,000 or $150,000, then I would be supporting that because that is what the data showed. I've also made similar types of arguments when I was arguing over salaries in corporate America, because that's what you do. You look at data. You look at data and to be quite honest, this is exactly the same process that the people went through when they looked at all of the positions in our city. When we did an analysis of positions in our city, that's the same type of process they would go through. They went and looked at other cities. They went and found out what's the high end, what's the low end for comparable positions in every other city that was just like ours. That's what I did. So I don't have any particular bias because I didn't care one way or another 4 years ago. And I don't, because I was not personally impacted. What I did was I looked at the data, and what I found was that most mayors who are in a mayor aldermanic form of government where they do not have a city administrator, they do not have a chief of staff, they do not have a city manager, all of them pay around $100,000, some a little bit more and some a little bit less. And so when I looked at that data, as did also late Alderman Bob Iverson, he looked at data as well. That's how we came up with the compromise that is in place right now. So I don't have a problem with people forming an opinion. You all form whatever opinion you want. It doesn't make me one bit of difference one way or another. All I was doing was providing information to help you make an informed decision and giving you the information that I use to help me make an informed decision. If you want to give the mayor $250,000 or $1 million, that's on you. I form my opinion based on data and data alone. And it doesn't matter if Mayor Williams is the mayor, and it does not matter if I'm the mayor. Because if I'm the mayor, I would still say it is too much money. And so there is no bias. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that Tricia Teague is not doing anything because of her personal feelings or personal opinion about anyone. And that anyone happens to include me. It is too much money, even if I'm mayor. That's my opinion. That's always been my opinion. And my opinion is based solely on data. Now, did I take the time to go and look at what the other city mayors do and what other responsibilities that they might have in their city that we don't have? Because I used to live in Waukegan. So I can imagine that there might be some things that the mayor of Waukegan has to do that Mayor Williams doesn't have to do because we have the responsibilities in Waukegan that we don't have here. But I don't know that, and I didn't take the time to look at that because it wasn't going to make any difference for the people who are about to vote anyway. Everybody's formed their own opinion already. So I wasn't gonna sit here and argue with people when your mind is already made up. It didn't make any sense. I'm not trying to prove any points. I'm not trying to sway anybody else. I've said everything that I needed to say on this topic. I just want to make sure that it's clear on how I arrived at my decision, and provide everybody else with the same bit of information that I had. And so you can form an opinion on your own and make a decision on your own. And whatever decision that you all make, as long as the democratic process is working, that's what I'm happy with. I don't care one way or another. Thank you.
Alderman Pickering.
I just have one thing to say. This was an updated in 2026 that I referred from you, and it does not include the different districts, so that's why, and that is why I said that, because it did not include the districts, which is very important.
If that's very important to you, it was not included in my information.
Correct.
I don't have a problem with the fact that you look at all of the districts. As I was saying, there might also be districts that they have that we don't have. I'm assuming because you did not present any additional information that is not included. But I took offense to, and continue to take offense to, the insinuation that there was personal bias on my part because I was the person who provided the sheet and the data, and that I wanted to make sure that it is clear. There is no personal bias on my part, because if there was personal bias on my part, I would be voting yes.
Alderman Ludwig.
Alderman Teague, I feel that this is an absolute failure on your first steps towards transparency and fairness, which is a core principle of your campaign. You now claim to have a conflict of interest in this discussion.
Point of order on campaigning.
And vote.
Point of
Yet you've been
order on
arguing for a
campaigning.
month.
And I'll second to that as well.
Salary should not be raised to $130,000.
There's a point of
There
order,
is
and
a
there's
point
been
of
a
order.
second.
I'll second.
Any discussion or debate on the point of order? Roll call vote, please.
So if we vote,
We're not done.
so if we vote
We're
no,
not done.
No, I know. I'm saying on the point of
Border we have to.
on the point of order, I would just like to clarify. I would just like to clarify that we need to make sure that we're consistent and fair in our points of order. So I think if we allowed relevant information from one party, we have to make sure we do that with all parties. That's just something to consider as we move forward. If you vote yes, then you will be discontinuing Alderman Ludwig's commentary. If you vote no, you will be allowing her to continue with her commentary.
Huh?
But her,
yes.
If
No
you
is
vote-
yes and yes is no.
If you, the motion was a point of order that she discontinue the commentary. That the Alderman
Ludwig discontinues
Yes.
or Teague discontinues?
That Ludwig discontinues the commentary.
And it was because Ludwig brought up points that are on my mayor website that have nothing whatsoever to do with this discussion. That's why I said point of order on campaigning, because I have never brought that up. Not here, and I never would.
If you vote no, then you allow her to continue her commentary. If you vote yes, then she cannot continue her commentary. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Pickering,
No.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
No.
Jones,
no.
Barnes,
No.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
DeToy,
No.
Bouchard,
No.
Hightower,
Abstain.
Johnson,
No. No.
O'Kane,
I'm not gonna stop anybody from talking, no.
Poor,
No.
9 noes.
9 noes.
You now claim that a conflict of interest in this discussion and vote. Yet you've been arguing for a month now that the mayoral salary should not be raised to $130,000, but $115,000 instead, bringing forth research and data that supports your argument. As a declared mayoral candidate, you have an interest in preventing qualified candidates from entering this race to the detriment of our city, because you do not want the competition. The competition is not good for your chances of being elected. It is not in your interest to raise the mayoral salary to $130,000. You have other side businesses, Alderman Teague, that would continue to provide you with substantial income to the supplemental mayoral salary should you be elected. For the sake of transparency and fairness, I question why you failed to abstain from the discussion last week after announcing your run for mayor, but instead advocated and presented data and research as to why the mayoral salary should be increased, but just not as much as proposed. Now you're abstaining after trying to influence the decision for the last month. I find this extremely disingenuous and self-serving.
Alderman Teague.
So I shared information that I prepared 4 years ago when I was not running for mayor. And when we received the agenda item for this, and I happened to stumble across it over that weekend, I was like, well, let me go ahead and update the information because yes, we all have to vote. Most of the people who are on this council now were also on this council 4 years ago. And all I did was update the information and the data based on what I saw. We still have a responsibility to vote. And I still have a responsibility as an alderman to represent the people that voted for me. So I'm going to continue to do that, whether I'm elected mayor or not. I made my opinion known because that's my responsibility. I'm not voting because I choose to abstain. But if you would like for me to vote, I can vote no. That's not a problem. And I would have voted no regardless. And I've also said publicly, and I said it to the press, that it was a compromise to propose that it be raised $5,000 because that was the same compromise that was brought forth and voted on 4 years ago. And I also said to the press, I don't agree with it, and it's not. Well, the reason why I presented it is because I thought $5,000 was palatable because that's what this council did 4 years ago. It could stay the same, and it wouldn't matter to me. And I'll also just point out that I've invested significant amounts of money into my business. So whether or not I have side income or not should not matter. When Mayor Bob Jones was mayor, he had other businesses. Should not matter. Right. What matters is what the people want. The people may or may not choose to vote for me. They may or may not choose to vote for Mayor Williams if he decides to run. They may or may not choose to vote for anybody else if they decide to run. At the end of the day, it's up to the people. I want what the people want. That's all I care about, is that democracy continues to move forward. But since we want to talk about certain things, one of the things that Alderman Arns brought up was the potential, or at least the appearance of a conspiracy as it relates to changing the number of votes. Whether or not there was a conspiracy or not, I don't know. And I don't mudsling because I don't care. But I will say it looked like it. And I will say that it looked like it because certain aldermen were talking to me about changing the number of votes long before it came up in a meeting. And that person was you, actually, Alderman Ludwig. So if we want to be transparent, then let's be transparent about everything. Because I have no problem with transparency on every point. And I have no problem with being called to the carpet. I don't have a problem with you forming an opinion about what I may or may not be doing or why. But I will tell you this, it is not about me. I've said that for years. I said that 4 years ago, and I will repeat, I wasn't running for mayor then. But if you all want to attack me, that's fine. I can take it. I put on my big girl panties every day. So since we're not doing points of order, so if you all want to attack me in order to defend Mayor Williams or anyone else, that's fine. It's okay. And you can have your opinion, and it's okay. I have an opinion as well. My opinion on this point, I have an opinion on many things, but my opinion on this point and on the point of the mayor's salary is that the data does not support it. Based on our comparison to other cities that are similarly sized and similarly governed. That is what we should be talking about. That's the number one thing we should be talking about. That's what we're about to vote on. So let's just go ahead and call the vote.
I would like to acknowledge all the other aldermen if that's acceptable and make a statement.
That is acceptable.
Alderman O'Kane.
Well, one, I kind of have opinions that maybe the mayor should have some more money, but I'm not sure. Number two, I kind of like to wait until we know what we're going to do with the treasurer. Number three, I just read today where if we take a vote and it fails, we got to wait 22 months for another vote on something like this.
You can't.
I don't think we don't have time to wait 22 months.
You can't.
So I don't think with the air that's going in this room right now, we will take a good vote. So I'd like to vote for this after we vote for the treasurer.
No.
Postpone the vote till after the treasurer's vote.
So you're making a motion to table this to the same night as the treasurer's vote, but after the treasurer, we vote for the treasurer. Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. I just would like to note one item. It was said earlier that we talked about the wage study. Alderman Teagan, you mentioned how what we did for everyone was that they did this study and they did an assessment and they based it on job descriptions, and then we adjusted the salary for all of our officials all of our staff members accordingly. In that same study, it did a comparison of the mayor, and it did it based on job description, and it had to be at least a 70% match. So when they did that study, I know you're a data person, so I know this is important to you. When they did that study, the very same study that allowed us to properly compensate all of our employees said that the mayor's salary should be between $130,300 and $196,000, I believe. Now, I did not propose that it be anywhere in the middle of that or high of that. What I proposed is that it be rounded down from $130,300 to $130,000. That way, it'd be comparable and be treated the same way that we treated our employees. So I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out. The other thing that I want to talk about is equity and fairness, right? You look at this and you look at an internal comparison. It's interesting how certain news media in this room only want to report facts that support a certain agenda. We cry out for fake news and stuff when we say that fake news is bad, but then we provide fake news ourselves. That's a real challenge for our community. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear that when we compare it internally, the mayor makes less than 22 other employees in the city of Danville. When we compare it, so 10% of the employees in the city of Danville make more than the mayor. When you compare it externally, I want to give a couple of comparisons. As was said last week, the principals at the schools, most of them make more than the mayor of Danville. When you look at private institutions and nonprofit entities, they make more than the mayor of the city of Danville. You look at other governmental agencies. For example, at the Danville Sanitary District, the last salary we received by one of our fellow aldermen was over $170,000.
Yeah, that's right.
It started out at $112,000. So across 5 years, that individual had a salary that was a 30-some-odd% increase. Similarly, at the city of Danville, when that individual started, he was making $50-some thousand a year and left in 2017 making $112,000 a year. So the salary increase there was almost 60%. A 60% salary increase while at the city of Danville, and a 43% salary increase at the Danville Sanitary District. The Danville Sanitary District has one job. They treat your sewer, they treat your waste, and they only have about 20 employees combined, full-time and part-time. $173,000. The current manager of the sanitary district makes over $200,000. And in the meantime, when we did the studies of salaries before, guess who was not included? The unions. I made sure, with the support of this city council, with our chairman, with each one of you, that we were able to include the unions as part of that study. And guess what? Over 70% of our employees got substantial raises. Some of them, their raises doubled. Do you know that we had people working as dispatchers in the police making barely minimum wage? We fixed all of that. So what I just want to remind people is if we're going to talk about salaries and fairness and equity, that what is good for the goose ought to be good for the gander. And instead of just taking care of certain populations and me and my team or the people that I'm close to, we need to make sure that we're fair to everyone. So what I'm saying to you is not that I can't live on $110,000. Absolutely I can. I'm a single man with no debt except for my home. But what I am saying is that whether it be me or whoever it is, a couple of things. Number one, we ought to have equitable pay. Number two, if you don't pay a reasonable salary, you're not going to get a good person to manage the city of Danville's finances well. And I can tell you, we have returned tens of millions of dollars to our general fund. And as a result, you see additional streets, you see improvements in the parks and things like that. If you don't get someone to manage the resources well, and let's not just talk about finances, let's talk about our employees. You've got to make sure you treat your team well, that you have a culture where people are respected, where they're heard, where no matter what, they can tell you. You ask any of these folks, they can tell you that they can tell me the truth in love. They have talked to me to my face and told me hard things that I didn't like, things that I disagreed with. And guess what? I listened to them and learned and did better where I could. But again, this is not about Ricky Williams, because I may or may not be your next mayor, but I want to be sure that whoever sits in this seat is qualified and that he or she takes care of you and makes sure that your interests are well represented and that we don't just work for the elite or just for those people who are our friends or who we're close to, but we make sure that everyone is taken care of properly. And guess what? If I take care of those union employees properly, if I take care of all the city employees properly, then they work well for you. And you see them out there every day, fixing your sewers, fixing your streets, fixing your parks. It's because they're paid properly and they're treated with respect and dignity as one should be. And I can tell you that certainly wasn't always the case. But whether it be me or somebody else, you need to make sure that you pay them properly so that you can get a good person in the seat. Because if you don't, we see. We've seen locally, we've seen on the federal level, we've seen, nationally, we've seen on the state level. When you don't have good people that have the skills in charge, you get what you get. And if you have a suppressed salary, less good people are going to be willing to run for that position. Yes, Ms. Teague.
4 years ago, well, I don't know exactly when it was, but when we did the salary wage study, I also asked at that time specifically for elected officials' salaries to be included in the wage study. As elected officials, not as CEOs or city managers or anything like that, but as elected officials. And what was in the wage study was only the mayor's position, no comparison for treasurers, which I went through the same struggle that you went through, Treasurer Herron, in terms of finding comparable information on treasurers because it's few and far between. And I also looked for alderman pay to try to get information on what aldermen should make because it's very hard the information is all over the place. So I was hoping that when the wage study happened, that what would come back was all elected officials, but that is not what we received. There was a footnote with a star that just said average. That's what I recall from the wage study. So I did ask for that. And it also seems, now I know what the post-meeting meeting was, because I know I was in the parking lot last week for at least half an hour after the meeting, having a conversation with the Davises, just in general, just because that's where we catch up with each other is on Tuesday nights. And I noticed a few cars still here, and now I can see what the post-meeting meeting was. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I call for the question.
Guys,
Sorry.
since I was involved in a lot of this that Doug brought up, the I was one of the people that the mayor met with, actually, he didn't meet, it was Bob Iverson and I met with him when we were talking about the number of votes required. And to be honest with you, it stemmed from Bob Iverson and myself being pissed off after the vote on the abortion issue. That's when we got together and said, this can't go on, we need to, went to the mayor and he pretty much shot us down immediately. Saying, no, you need to keep it the way it is. 15 votes, 7 or 14 aldermen and the mayor, the elected people that vote, which never really given it much thought up to that point. No, it's 14 aldermen have the vote. Mayor just votes in a tie. Well, the mayor votes in a tie because he is an elected official and breaks the tie. As far as the gas tax, yeah, I was one doing a lot of research. I'm one that actually proposed and wrote some ideas down for Corporation Council to draft. Taking in the as of our settlement and parts A and B and things like that. I mean, that's how we got to, I believe it's 14.3 or something cents a gallon is where we're at now. Which is supposed to be reviewed every year and see how it, whenever the state issues their new rate is when we're supposed to change ours. Like I say, the mayor had no, and then Eve, I can't remember, you and Bob and I met, I think, once, talking about it a little bit, but mayor shot us down. We tried to bring to the council, do you want to be on the committee again? I said, absolutely not. It's a dead horse, there's no need to pursue it. Go with what the law says. But then, like I say, the gas tax, yes, I was one that proposed, because the way it was originally, it was going to be stepped, certain amounts here, then this year it's going to go to this amount in this year, and it was going to be a substantial increase the first year. We got it to where it would level out and remain constant. Any conspiracy, there was no conspiracy to change the way we voted. It was just to get clarification, and get it so everyone understood that it took those votes.
I have a question. So when it was proposed to go to 7, that was your suggestion?
The 7 votes?
Yes.
That was after the second. That's when Eve and Bob, and I don't know who else was on that group, came back and said, here's the way the law really is. 7 or 14 votes, 8 aldermen to pass, and the mayor would change it, or 8 votes to pass based on the mayor's.
So when it was proposed that it would take 7 and not 8, was that your suggestion?
That was mine and Bob Iverson's suggestion, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Not, and again, in context, not keeping the mayor in mind as, that's an elected position too. Just going off 14 aldermen.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
There's been a motion to table the vote on the mayor's salary until the first Tuesday in May. A vote yes would be tabling a vote on the discussion until, a yes would be tabling a vote on the proposal until then. A no would be to vote on it this evening. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Alderman Butler,
Yes.
DeToy,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Nope.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. We have no need of closed session. Having satisfied the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.